इतना सफर है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और सातवें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
So, very good morning, friends, and I welcome you to the Saturday edition of Business Transformation Series. This is a session for franchisors, even prospective franchisors who want to expand their businesses, their senior leadership teams. It can also be area or master franchisees in the country. And as businesses across the globe are affected, and franchise businesses too have not remained immune to the changes that we are seeing in the environment today. And on request of many of the companies that we work with and many aspiring franchisors, we started these series about a month back. So, Franchise India, with 22 years of experience, is currently the largest franchise solution company. And along with Francorp, which is our consulting arm, we bring this transformation series to you. And friends, before we start, I'd like to put maybe a brief perspective. And this next 1 hour would be led by me. I'm Sonia Chaudhary, and along with the chairman of Franchise India, Mr. Gaurav Maria. So, business transformation, friends, is a time taking and a very thoughtful process because it involves making fundamental changes in how business is conducted in order to help cope with the shifts in micro and macro environment in which today businesses are operating. Now, transformation generally is a response to two main things. First, there is some underlying problem or a pain point of an organization that needs to be addressed first. And second, it could be where the top management of the company or the key stakeholders feel there is a need to leverage an opportunity which may help the company increase their market share or customer base or a subscriber base. And if business transformation has to be impactful, then it should cut across all aspects which business touches, involving processes, people, technology of the business as a whole, or perhaps maybe the business unit where the transformation is to be undertaken. And fundamentally, there are three things which is new growth, where the companies need to see where they need to bring the new growth. Second is they need to reposition their core. And third is working around their financials. And businesses today are being judged a very real time on how they're managing the challenge, their behavior, strategic choices they're making, and an informed response could help build trust and brand affinity. So, now friends, the four modules that we would conduct today would include business modeling. Second is franchise recruitment. Third is franchise management. And fourth is franchise transformation. And with this, I'd like to request Mr. Gaurav Maria to come and take forward the first part of our presentation.
Thank you, Sonia, and welcome, friends, and welcome to another edition of Franchise Transformation Series. As Sonia said, this is a series which started with helping brand owners who need to now evolve and innovate their business models so that they can be future ready. Especially in franchising, this is very, very important because franchising is a complex strategy. It looks very simple because you just pass your brand and know-how to somebody else to run that. But I feel that over the last 22 years, we have found a lot of good successes and a lot of failures because it's a very complex strategy because you're dealing with a lot of entrepreneurs. It's a very essentially you deal with entrepreneurs who become your partners and essentially support your customers. So fundamentally, this is a chain. If you have a problem with your partner, then your service to a customer would have a problem. If you are not having enough business strength in a business model, then overall business would collapse. So a lot of things which we feel that there has to be a lot of thinking before we start getting into that. So as Sonia said, we have created 4 modules, which are, I call the 4 pillars of any franchise system to perform. So let's start with the presentation, please. So we'll talk about the 4 things, and this is 4 modules. And the first 3 modules are designed for companies which are now getting into franchising. They're relatively new franchisers, new brand owners who are getting into franchising. And the fourth one is more for existing franchisers, people who are already franchising. They need to change few things in the system. So let's start with the first module, which I call the business modeling. 60% of your franchise strategy revolves around this. And this is one of the areas which needs a lot of detailing, focus, and attention before you start franchising. I see a lot of people get into franchising as a business of convenience. So you are doing well, you have a good PR, somebody will walk into you and say, I want to take your franchise, and you will start early franchising like that, without having enough preparation being done to get into franchising. And that's the biggest mistake. You're not prepared and you start franchising. And the early franchisees are your foundation. If they collapse or they fail, your entire program of franchising really fails. So you need to really make sure that you don't rush into getting into franchising. Prepare your systems and processes, define standardization, a lot of other things which we will talk about has to be there before you start franchising. One of the areas which I call the nucleus of the business is business modeling. How your business is modeled around so that it is a franchise ready business model. So first part of that is, how do you stabilize future revenues? Now ask yourself, why somebody is investing into you? Not about you, not about your brand, not about the business model, not about any other thing. It's investing purely because you have shown a business model which would work over the years and create sustainable revenues for that entrepreneur. And that's something which has to be really be the first cause. So how do you stabilize future revenues? That's very important. And how do you really forecast that? How do you bring predictability in that? I like business models which have a lot of subscription in that. Once you start the business model, you have a subscriber who continue to do that, and you continue to improve your margins going forward. So business models which have very stabilized cash flows for over 4, 5, 6 years and continue to improve their margins are, I think, the perfect business models. And so you need to really see what is your business model telling you. A lot of business models I've seen which start very well, but as the year passes, their margins collapse or they shrink in that sense. And going forward, their inflations keep rising and there's no margin left in the business. And 2 to 3 years from now, there is a sustainability becomes an issue, both by the franchisor and for franchisee. And how do you really define your business model so that you are able to stabilize your future revenue? Second, unlock growth areas and markets. Which are the markets you need to go? Every single market is so unique. So just saying, I mean, I've seen rollouts when we ask companies and say, what is your rollout? And say pan India. I mean, just saying that it is many countries in one country. They don't go very definite in understanding. I would say, even if you say Delhi, it has to have very clear defined micro neighborhoods. Which are the markets you need to go that, and how markets would react. How a South Delhi reacts to a West Delhi, to a North Delhi is very different. What a Noida would do to a Gurgaon is a very, very different. What Faridabad would do to Sonipat would be very different. So fundamentally, one has to understand that which markets you're trying to address. What are your unlock markets? What are the first phase markets? What are the phase 2 markets? What are the phase 3 markets? That's very, very important. And you need to do a lot of primary research before you maybe invest into decide on your rollout plan. Third is cost optimization and financial efficiency. Now, again, very important aspect. These days, particularly post-COVID, every organization have understood and learned how important it is for cost optimization. You cannot have overly staffed. You cannot put too much of capex. You need to do a lot of financial engineering. We have worked with clients and changed their business model. I've done business model which used to cost say 40 lakh rupees. Now we're doing in 25 lakh rupees because we want to really make it efficient. We were doing it with 10 people. Now we're doing with 6 people because we want to really make both the capex and opex very, very efficient. The financial efficiency is the key today. How do you really do that? And I like this international model. Look at Subway. It might put up a right kind of equipment, right kind of structure, but only 2 people or 3 people can manage that. And that's why these companies are able to pass sustainability test, because they are able to pass through and we still be able to grow in that. Now, finally is growth over scale. Franchising is actually scale strategy. Let me explain you. Growth is all about when you grow the business, you have to proportionately grow your resources, which means that you need to deploy more people, you need to put more marketing, you need to put more infrastructure, more offices and things like that. So it's very proportionate to that. But scale companies actually grow without proportionately putting the same kind of infrastructure. Like these are technology companies. When you see how Google and Facebook really grows, organically, you keep putting the content. They don't even put the content. It's the people putting the content and the company keeps growing. So these kind of companies always in that thing. And so franchising is a great scale story where you get growing your brand, but you don't have to put your own capital and resources. I've seen companies, global companies, which would have 1,000 franchisees with 20 people. We're working with a company which has operations in 110 countries, and 110 countries are managed by 8 people, just 8 people. And they're so efficient. And these 8 people are every week connected to every single country, talk about their strategies, and that. So they've designed the business model in a manner that they are able to control such a large network with such a small resources being deployed. And that's what I call the great scale strategy for franchising. If you are building up a franchise business model, don't over-invest into building capability. Rather put process leaders. Every process is led by a leader. Maybe you have 15 people, but every person who's working in the system has an obligation and structure to grow. So that's what your business model would be. So over to you, Sonia, for taking the next module, please.
Can we have the next slide? Franchise recruitment. Yes. This part will include profiling of franchisees, which is primarily maturity, objectivity, experience, creativity, and integrity, micro and macro market analysis, selection process, and franchise development team. And why we feel it is very important is because selection of a quality franchise is the single most differentiator we feel in making a franchise system become successful or fail. So selection is very, very important. And there are broadly 3 profiles, or 3, we categorize them into 3 broad DNAs, where we have one profile, which is, most of these people who come to you are pretty much accomplished people. They're driven by one main objective, which is security after work life. And these are people who might have a bigger gestation time and they have patience, but they will not invest in businesses which are high on risk. And the second category is a climber. He is very centric on ROI, very, very, very important. He's more settled in nature, and he has a majority of, career vision. He's aspirational, and he's always attracted to stable concepts. And then we have the third category, which is the go-getter. He's somebody who's an enthusiast. He's mentally strong. He's also excited about new formats, unique concepts. He wants to bring the first format into the market. And he's a self-believer. And these are typically a new breed of entrepreneurs who have a risk of very high appetite. So between or amongst these 3 categories, one has to select based on the business that you're in and the stage of business you are in. You need to find the right people. And why we feel it is very important is also because if you don't have the right profiling of people, your franchise business is poorly operated, and many a times it is even undercapitalized. People would invest the entire money in the initial, even before the launch, the entire money which any franchisee has is exhausted, and they don't have enough to even sustain the next 3 months. And also because he might not even like the work he's involved in, and he might not find himself compatible with the business. And if that is not the case, then even these franchisees will not even generate repeat sales for you. So we need to show, and especially for new startups who are coming in the business for a very first time, it is important that our initial selection of franchisees is very critical, even if it requires the company to go beyond their comfort level to make them successful and maybe invest a little bit more than what they do. And we divide the selection again into four fits. So one is operational fit, second is marketing fit, third is strategic fit, and fourth is financial fit. Operational fit, why we say is the most important aspect, while we say franchising is debt and equity free business, it is run on other people money, but we need somebody who has time to run and operate the business. And all if not maybe 100%, but 99% of the formats in franchising need operational efficiencies. So even maybe a brand like Subway, which is operating more than 47,000 outlets across the globe, would only have one outlet which the company runs, and rest are all franchisees. And because it brings almost 18% efficiency in the business. So even if you have somebody who has enough capital to invest but has no time, one should not select a franchisee who does not put enough time. And he also needs to have the operational bandwidth, which becomes even more important when it is a bigger area franchisee who not only manages his own outlet, but he also has the responsibility to develop his territory and further support and help his unit franchisees under him. Second is market fit, which means that is the franchisee having a capability to market the brand and also generate enough volumes from his territory. That is one, because most of the national marketing is done by the company, and many a times the local franchisee is not even capable of taking care of his neighborhood or the vicinity in which he operates. This being one. And second, also from the brand perspective, are the markets where you want to enter, which are ripe. One from, I would say, the opportunity point of view. There are a lot of markets which you might feel are great when it comes to opportunity, but equally important is also to understand your own bandwidth of, it could be logistics, maybe manpower, supply chain, and any other things which make it difficult for you to scale in maybe different geographies across the country. Third is financial fit, which obviously means that the franchisee needs to have the capability to invest in the business and also have at least in these times 6 months of working capital also budgeted in the financial projections. And fourth is strategic fit, which could also be his own experience in the business, maybe some business he has done, or even his professional experience or educational qualification, which might help him in making this business successful. Strategic could also mean maybe a great location, which maybe the franchisee owns, and that might be relevant for a business like yours. Then we come to micro market analysis, which is primarily assessment onto one could be a go-to market, which means if you have a new category which needs to be developed, you need a different approach. And market segmentation is typically the process where we divide the market into potential customer bases and groups and see different characteristics and which could be based on the needs of the people, the age of the people, social class, education, and even gender. And what we do here is we do also a need gap analysis. We also ensure that we take care of the local regulations. A lot of regulations, while can be center subject, but many of these are also state subject, which could be a drug license availability in the city or the state. It could be liquor license. So these regulations are important when you enter a market. Fourth, I would say, is location, real estate, rental, occupancy cost, which is very important. And I would say the last few years, many concepts, while the businesses were great, the franchises were great, but because of these high rentals, people were not able to sustain the businesses. And now these days, I think that cost has become very, very realistic and has been rationalized to a certain extent. And the two biggest growth limiters for any company is, one, lack of product or the market fit, and the other is operational scalability. So these two elements one needs to take utmost care of before they venture into franchising. And that's why the market analysis is very, very important when you want to venture into a business, first of all franchising, and maybe a new market that you want to get in. And also, it is very important at the same time to understand how the investor thinks, which is investor mindset. First and foremost, how any individual invest is his own interest in the industry. And once that is selected, then he narrows down on the company and the people behind. Third, he's looking at formats on concepts which can hedge his risk to a certain extent. He's ready for risk, but he does not want to too much of risk in the business. Fourth, he's looking at businesses which has a long span of life. At least the next 5 years are the time where the businesses are likable to be growing. Fifth is short payback period, which investor looks at. And lastly, I would say the level of engagement and the pride with the brand, which is very important. Sometimes investment might be low, but the investor or the franchisee does not feel that engagement and pride when he works with the company. So these I would say three, six odd things become very important when you look at the investor mindset and select them on these criterias if they fit your business and your culture. Now, coming down to the franchise recruitment process, typically we divide this into three broad processes, which is information, which is at the top of the pyramid. It is very broad. At this stage, we market the opportunity, reach out to potential maybe business buyer or your franchisees, and this marketing can be done through various platforms, which could be both print as well as digital these days. And second, and so this marketing helps you in reaching out to a wider base of audience. This is followed by an evaluation process, which is stage two, where lead generation is filtered down basic four fits that we talked about. So we circulate and maybe see, if these four fits fit around the generated leads. And at this stage, we also expect the franchisee to share with us an expression of interest form. And this EUI form is a depiction of the seriousness of the investor. At this stage, what we also advise companies to get involved into discovery days. So discovery days are typically events. These days, we're doing most of these events online digitally through Zooms. But in the regular days, we suggest we invite investors to either the brand office or the outlet, give them a tour, and spend at least 1.5 hours with him. So what these discovery days would do is it'll maybe sift a business buyer from the opportunity seeker. And second, it also creates some level of urgency for people to close. So these tri-party meetings, when they happen, your probability of closures would increase. And just to give you some metrics, if you're looking at maybe closing, say, 100 franchisees in a year, what you need to do is you need to have at least 200 LOIs. To generate these 200 LOIs, you need to have at least 1,000 expression of interest generated. To generate these 1,000 EOIs, you need to have at least 2,000 odd leads. When I say leads, these are filtered people whom you have selected. And in order to have these leads, you need to have at least 20,000 hits, which is, the wider investor database that you reach out to. And finally is the last stage, which is negotiation, where, the agreements are signed and recruitment takes place. So we divide the entire process into information stage, which is marketing evaluation, where we evaluate, filter, bring these people for a tri-party discovery days, and finally close and sign the agreements. Lastly, we talk about capability development, building a strong team, and there are four broad teams which any franchise company needs to have. Usually companies have relatively flat structure with existing teams handling multiple tasking, but franchise needs complete support with respect to initial support and also the ongoing operations and support. So these four teams would be, first and foremost, I would say, franchise development, and this team takes care of acquisition of franchisees and also marketing to these potential business buyers. And once that is done, this is passed on to the project team. So second team is project team, which takes care of site selection and also the new store opening. The third team is the operations team, which is responsible for store setup, logistics, vendor management, CRM, internal audit, and also customer feedback and grievances. And the fourth set of team is your support team, which is, I would say, a nucleus, which is your accounts, legal, marketing, and the HR. So any company, and all these four teams are important for a full-fledged franchise working. If you are at an early stage where you're starting up, then these teams can be developed as your business progresses, where you can start with a franchise development team. And when you have the initial set of franchises coming in place, the further team can be developed. So friends, this was about this module. I will request Mr. Maria back to take on the third and the fourth module. Rich, can we have the slide of franchise management? Yes.
So next is franchise management. Franchise management is a very, very important pillar. Recruitment, if you are able to get the right kind of franchisee, That's fine. But more importantly, how are you going to manage your franchise network? And managing franchise network, when it is very small, it's a very different thing. And it becomes larger, it becomes very different. And if it becomes very, very large in different countries and so on and so forth, it's very complex in structure. So you need to really follow principles and some kind of a structure within the organization to really manage your franchises well. The first part is, how do you really set mutual responsibility, mutual accountability, and mutual respect? This is very important, because sometimes I see when you start early as a franchisor, you become very friendly with your franchise. You want to really build a relationship. Now, relationship is great, but you set some kind of a very firm principles so that you are able to put accountability in the system. Because sometimes as a franchisor, as a brand owner, you need to take a lot of hard decisions. Hard decision is to implement processes, implement practices, implement very, very strong guidelines for the brand, because you don't want any infringement of your brand to happen. Even early stage, a lot of companies, when they start with us, when they very start early stage, they actually come to us and say, how can I implement that? I'm also a startup as a franchisor. I say, if you are even a startup, you are just a one store company, then also somebody is coming to take you from you, your franchise. There's something right about you, and you need to control that. You cannot get overwhelmed by the franchisee. End of the day, this is your system which is going to work. And if you're not able to implement your system, everything would collapse. I've seen people changing the menus, they've changed the business model, they've tried to do some other services, they add on some other businesses around it, they distort the brand. All these things are non-negotiable. We call the firm and a flexible rule. Firm is things which you cannot change. They are good, very important for the brand, and flexible areas which you can really improve or give time to a franchisee to improve and run. That's one part of the accountability. The second is, you need to be facilitator. Don't overcommit yourself to a franchise that you are going to do everything. If you're going to do everything, then why are you franchising at the first stage? So you need to be very, very careful. They're all communication from your interview process to actually getting the franchisee on board has to be critically observed, that you are telling them that you are going to be a big facilitator for them, but you're not going to run their business. It's an independently owned, independently operated business. They need to run the business. You don't have to do that. Third, build your ACE partners. Every single franchise network, there is ACE partners. A stands for advocate of brand, C stands for culture, and E stands for engagement. How your partners are strongly engaged with you. That's very important. How do you really bring ACE partners? Fourth, audits. Audit is very, very important. How do you really audit from the day one? You know, a lot of times we go and start auditing at a later stage. Why we start auditing? We feel that something is going wrong in the business model. And that time, the franchisee doesn't appreciate, he feels a little overwhelmed, and he feels that there's somebody's intrusion in their business model, or somebody's policing them behind. That's not good. Start audit as a good, healthy practice for getting what I call business insight. Today, business intelligence is a single most rule for knowing what is going around it. How your customers are liking, what are they're not liking, what is the your teams doing, how the teams are giving great quality. All that processes has to be a regular audit. And audit can be on quality of service, audit can be your internal processes. Everything has to be audited from the day one. And we at FranCop and Franchising, they really put a lot of systems and processes for our clients. We put stringent operating structures, training structures, so that your implementation of your franchise model is great. And then finally put a ERR program. ERR means encourage, recognize, and reward your franchise. Encourage them monthly. If they've done well, they've treated your customers well, encourage them. Then recognize them. Recognize their performance for a quarterly basis and reward them annually. Take them out, big celebration, big award functions. If a franchisee starts coming to the top position, they would always try to be in that center. So this is what we need to do that. So I'll repeat, build relationship, but don't go too friendly. Set accountability, responsibility, and mutual respect. Be a facilitator, don't do it for them. Build ACE partners, set up an audit mechanism, and follow a ERR process. Next slide, please. Now, this is last part of our presentation. This is actually designed for companies which are already franchised. Now, we have seen a lot of companies which are already franchising, especially post-COVID and things like that. The business model have to be tweaked. A lot of businesses which didn't have technology, they need to bring in technology. A lot of businesses which had only offline business, they also have to have online business. So a lot of things are changing because the consumer is changing. Consumer priorities are changing. If consumer is changing, their priorities are changing. What we need to do is innovate. If your business model is not constantly innovating itself, you are in a big danger. So you need to really see a culture of innovation being part of your business. I think the most important position in any organization, and this position should be held by the CEO of the company himself, is I am a chief innovation officer. You need to be a chief innovation officer. You need to innovate your company. And if you're not innovating your company, you sooner or later you will start declining and business model will start declining. I can tell you everything would change. Maruti just recently launched a program for what I call online car sales. They would facilitate everything from online. People don't have to even go to these large showrooms, which means all these big box retail infrastructures might not be relevant and going forward. But car sales would be. The entrepreneur might absolutely would be. A lot of things would happen and a lot of things would change the way people buy. And as people start shifting the way they buy or the way they consume things, everything would change. So your B2B businesses, B2C businesses, business to government businesses, all that businesses, I think, would be changing very, very fast. So you need to bring in innovation. Second, re-engineer your product, rediscover your customer, and repackage your communication. That's very important. Re-engineer your product itself. Rediscover because your target group might have changed. Rediscover your target group and repackage your communication. We need to refresh our business model and take it to the back to market. And we are doing a lot of work in this space. A lot of companies are coming to us, what we call we have a service called review and recommendation. We work and go and review their business model, review their franchisees, understand what their challenges they're facing, and then design a new, fresh approach to the business model. Then we call elevate and exit. This is also we are doing. We audit their franchisee. We find some of the franchisees are great. They're ace partners. We elevate them. Even single unit franchisee can go into multi-unit. Multi-unit can go into area. Area can go into a little bit a larger region. So we elevate them. We give them a growth process. And some which are not aligned and they would never be, after giving fair chance and notices, we need to exit them. That's a hard decision, but you have to take it. You need to continue to elevate some and exit some. And finally, we also work with our clients to find new markets where they can go. This can be Indian markets, it can be overseas markets. Now these days, we are working with a lot of clients in India, which are looking in African markets or North Africa markets and things of that nature. So we continue to build and give a new markets, because new markets can bring in new growth to you. I always say that the growth comes from only three things: new channel, new market, new product. There is no fourth idea. Out of these three things, you need to do something. You can do all three, and the growth would come to your company. So that's what we wanted to offer you today, wanted to present to you. If you have any questions for us or anything which you want to really ask about how your franchise model can develop, please reach out to us, me and Sonia. We will put our email IDs, and you can just send your email, and we will be more than happy to take your questions. Sonia, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just add, and friends, I to see Mr. I think Joy, he wants to know the companies that we work with. I will also request that anyone who's not seen our website can even go on the company website, which is franchiseindia.com. There are a few thousand companies which are listed on the website, and we work with all these companies. And also at the bottom, you'll find even our other sister concerns that we work with, which has consulting outfit, which is Francorp. We have a licensing company, and we also have other investments, including real estate and other incubations that we have done. You can get maybe the first information about the company that we are, in case you need more information, and the companies that we have dealt in the last 22 odd years. And for everything else that you need to reach out one-on-one, we have put our number, and I would request do share the business that you are in, where you belong to, and what you intend to do with your business, and maybe a little background and history about your business, which helps us in making our calls with you more elaborate and productive. So,
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time today. I know this is on Saturday early morning. So every week we bring in a new series, and we're starting next week a new series, which are much more elaborate and in depth. So if you want to join, please contact us, and we will be more than happy to really send you a invitation link. Thank you very much.